But we've also got some of these as well. And they're not bad sized plants. And in fact, there's a couple of plants in each cell that's actually germinated. These are Brussels plants, but they're called early half tall. So they don't get as tall as your regular Brussels plants, which is a bonus to us with things like this wind, because the plants tend to get battered before they even get started. So I thought what we'll do is we'll put one of these in a container, because hopefully it's only going to grow a few feet tall, and we can keep it away from cabbage white butterflies. So I'm thinking maybe something like a 10 litre should suffice for one plant. But if you saw yesterday's video, we did put a broccoletto in a 10 litre container, and then we surrounded it with other little plants, and they were little gem lettuce. And that's something that we tend to do all year. If we know we've got a container that's going to take a long time to produce anything, we'll interplant whatever we can to get quick harvests. So we're getting something while we're waiting, and we're not wasting space. And that's the bonus when it comes to container gardening. I'll probably do a couple to see how they get on. But for now, I'll just do one, and then I'll have a look, see what we can interplant while we're waiting. At least when we're doing these jobs, we're not out there in that horrible weather. And I think after these plants, I think that's a pretty good one. I'll probably put what's left outside anyway, but for now I want to get another container going. In fact, I'm going to use that one. That's a really nice looking plant. So free that bottom. We'll make an hole in the centre, just roughly with my hand. And that's as early half tall Brussels planting. And I have mixed a bit of fertiliser into this. So that plant, again, in this container, doesn't look much, but we can add some bits and bobs to it. We've got these multi-sown containers with spinach in, and we use these for different purposes. We'll grow them to this size, and then we'll take the whole thing out and we'll put it in a bigger container, get a bigger bunch of spinach. But we've also got the option to separate plants off if we want to. Not so much into individual plants, because we can just pull out 2 or 3 plants in little clumps and put them wherever we want. And when we're doing jobs like this, as we did previously with that broccoletto, we put little gems around outside, because we're utilising as space and as compost to get twice the harvest from one area, which is a really good thing to do. We know that plants like this are going to take a long time to grow. They're going to get quite big as well. And your spinach, as with any other salad, grows really quick. So you're taking the harvest while you're waiting for the main harvest from this container. So you're always getting something rather than nothing. But when it comes to things like spinach, as these days get warmer, your spinach is going to bolt. They don't like hot weather. And a good way to lengthen your harvest time, the spinach, is to give it some kind of shading. And plants like this work out just right for that, because this plant is going to fill out on this container. It's going to put out big leaves as it grows. So if we plant spinach around the outside of this container, it's got that little umbrella effect. It's shaded from the heat of the sun, but it will still grow. So since we've just done one, and we've put little gem lettuce in, we might as well use the same technique on this container. We know how long we've got to wait for these plants to mature, and we also know that we can get an harvest from this really quickly. But another thing about doing it like this, in the event that one thing doesn't work, if you put 2 different things in one container, you're doubling the chances of getting something. So that's what we'll do. So in this situation, I'd want to be taking out all this and splitting it off into little groups to plant all the way around outside, because spinach is quite happy just to grow together in groups. Unlike your little gems, where you have to plant separate plants and give them some space. First, I'm going to make sure this is nicely watered. It'll make it easier when we try and get these plants in. I'm going to water around that as well, because we've just put that in. But I'm concentrating more on the outside of this container. So that's where we're going to make these holes and put these little multi-sown groups of spinach in. And then we'll just go around and make a few holes. We can always plant in between if needs be as well. And the beauty of doing it like this is that you can always add to this container while still waiting for that main plant to grow. So something like that. And then we'll take this plant out. And it's about time we did something, because the roots are growing right bottom. And obviously they're going to tangle and make it difficult to get your plants out if you leave it too much. As you can see, it's quite a dense root system now. What we need to do with this is just unfold it. And then you can see we've got lots and lots of plants. And all we have to do is just pull these plants apart and decide how much we want to plant in one area. And this has got actually 3 different plants in it, and so's that one. So those can be just separated off. To leave us that. And it's already trying to grow little spinach leaves. Then we can just pop this in, force it right down into that hole, and then pinch that whole thing together into a bunch at the same time, just to keep it upright. I'm going to make those holes a little bigger, because they've got more roots than I thought they would have. But that's not a problem. So just in and bunch together. Once these plants settle in, they'll sort themselves out. And I'll try and stick to what we were doing. 3 or 4 in a bunch. And once again, I'm going to widen that hole and get those in. Pinch them together. Very simple job to do. And we'll go again. So a nice little bunch in, pinch together, done. So this interplanting thing is a real bonus, and especially if you've only got limited space for growing. And you might as well get something while you're waiting. And by doing this, you will. So, a couple more of these. And I'll just keep adding spare plants to it as well as I go. So that way we're not wasting anything. And just like that, it's all done. And we've got a nice little clump left. And that won't go to waste either, because I'll just pop it back into a smaller container. and then infill around it. And we'll let that just carry on growing. So as you can see, interplanting works out really well. Especially beneficial to small space gardeners. And there's lots and lots of plants that you can mix in the same container and they'll grow really fine together. Just bear in mind that when you're doing this, you're planting a long season crop that's going to have lots of roots. So you need to be planting short season crops that have shallower roots, or they harvest a lot quicker. So if you've never done interplanting before like this, to get 2 harvests from 1 container, maybe it's worth a look, because you're getting a lot more for your money. And we're going to be doing quite a few more like this as we progress into June, because we've pretty much filled up all those raised beds out there with lots and lots of onions. We've got multi-sown rows of different varieties of vegetables, and now we've got brassicas in there as well. So in as containers, we want to try and double up on every single thing that we do and make the best use after as compost and this space. If you're interested in seeing what other things we'll be putting in containers over the next few weeks, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.